Go ahead and get started. And let me just welcome everyone. My name is Trey Czar, the Chief Impact Officer with Impact Florida. And on behalf of Mandy Clark, our president, and the rest of our team that's here, thank you so much for joining this morning. Really excited to kick off some of this new work with all of you and to introduce some partners from across the country and across the world that have some really exciting products and services that they are starting to test out. So, for any of you who are new to Impact Florida, we've been around since 2019 and really work to knit together public school districts in the state of Florida to improve outcomes for kids. And many of you have participated in our learning cadres over the past number of years. And so this Spark work is a new exciting opportunity for us to try to do the same when it comes to the emerging world of artificial intelligence in instruction and in classrooms. So, wanted to start by just asking everyone to take a minute and let us know sort of how you're coming into the conversation today. So, there's a QR code on the screen, and one of my colleagues will put the link in the chat in just a minute. Please tell us how you're coming in today uh, to these demos and to this conversation. Are you here as a teacher looking at classroom level work? Are you a district leader? Instructional coaching? Are you really particularly interested in how students will experience any of these tools, or is it something else entirely? And if it's something else entirely, or you have more you want to say, we'd encourage you to drop a note in the chat, and then in just a minute we will take a look at who's here. Oh, okay, well, you can keep responding as we sit here, but most of you are here from a district perspective, which is fantastic. Some classroom teachers, some coaches, some folks thinking about coaching, a few others. We're really excited. These opportunities with Spark are really centered around opportunities with some emerging AI product developers who want real feedback from real classrooms. And we think it's really important that if products are going to serve the needs of our students in the state of Florida and across the country and the world, that those products really are practical and effective at doing that. And the best way to do that is to connect with real kids and real teachers in real districts. So this part of our effort here with Spark is to work with districts in the state to figure out how we can knit you together to build a collaborative test bed to understand how this new and emerging world of artificial intelligence can weave in with the important and vital work you do every day. And so this is really the start to that effort, and it will continue over the coming years as we all sort of live and emerge and grow in this space. So a quick overview of this call. We are committed to getting you out of this call at 9 a.m. So we've got it down, everything timed down pretty tightly. So we're already through number one and number two. In just a minute, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague Alec Coverstone to talk about a recent survey we conducted of Florida educators and their perspectives on the emerging way that artificial intelligence is playing into their lives in education. And then I'll come back and we'll introduce you to four developers that have products that they are currently in use across the state and across the country, but are really interested in specific research partnerships with districts. And they can talk more about that. We'll share some information, but those research partnerships will give you as districts potentially the opportunity to use those products for free and potentially stipends to participating teachers or other leaders in your districts who are, but also then to provide that vital feedback back to the developer so they can continue to make product improvements. And we'll share some information at the end about sort of where this work goes from here. So before I turn it over to Alan, just want to always remind you, please make active use of the chat. We've got a number of our team members here who will respond to things as they come up, or we'll bring them back and talk about them more broadly if needed. If you run into any technical issues, please message any one of our team, and we'll happily try to resolve those with you. And then I'm gonna turn it over to Alan. Alan. Oh,
Okay. Good morning. My internet decided to glitch right at that moment. I hope you can hear me. My name's Alan Coverstone, and I'm happy to be with you today. We're going to give you just a quick overview of what we learned from Florida educators with the AI survey that we just completed this summer. This is a perspective that we're certainly bringing to this conversation. You can see here this perspective that the current reality is a bit sobering. Teachers may not be receiving the time, training, or institutional support necessary for thoughtful integration, and professional development, when it exists, often focuses on tool functionality rather than deeper questions about pedagogy and learning in the age of AI, which is really the spirit that we're coming to this with. Across the board, the respondents that we surveyed told us that their top priorities really were centered around math instruction, and that their interest in AI was the hope that it could help to make more efficient some of those routines that teachers are engaged in, helping with planning, feedback, but also helping with instruction, and then providing direct instructional supports as well for students that enhance engagement and also enhance learning. When we asked about top priorities, digging a little bit deeper, you can see math instruction came out at the top, but reading and literacy instruction is a close second, with chronic absenteeism and student engagement being issues that everyone is really dealing with these days, and everyone seemed to have an interest in prioritizing those issues, as well as the use of data to inform instruction. And when we ask educators what their hopes and dreams for AI were, what they hope might be accomplished with artificial intelligence in the classroom, we saw this distribution. And first was that teacher assistant tools approach that I mentioned as at the overview, but then also teacher tools that help teachers apply high leverage strategies, data dashboards, and planning tools to support instructional decision making. And then we get into student engagement tools and student-facing tutoring or writing supports, as well as tools for English learners. And when we asked about what people were concerned about, not surprisingly, concerns about data privacy led the league there, as they do so often in these kinds of questions, and as people are wrestling with how to approach the use of AI in the classroom, but also lack of professional development for AI tools and products, concerns about bias, and then just a lack of certainty about the direction that the school or district wants to go in as they're trying to figure that out at the same time, as well as concerns regarding the broader role of AI in society. So we wanted to know, as you're coming in today and you think about those results, how does that resonate with your current reality? So we're going to take another poll here, and same link that's in the chat already, or the text code at the top. Do you think these results generally nailed it? Did they somewhat get it, but you have a few feelings that are different, and know your context is completely different? And as you put those in, if you have some more comments to share about that, we'd love to have those in the chat as well. All right. Well, it seems like 100% thought nailed it. Well, that's good to know. I mean, certainly we asked, and many of you answered, and so we think we're on the right track as far as understanding where you're coming from and how people are coming into the room, and we're excited about the developers and the work that they're doing, and their eagerness to work with you today and into the future as well. And so, why Spark now? Trey already kind of hit the overview of that, but I think the takeaway there, Florida educators are not asking whether AI belongs in schools. They're asking how to use it well, and how to address the concerns that come along with artificial intelligence and its emergence into the classroom. So I'm going to turn it back over to Trey now to introduce our developers today, and thank everyone for being here.
Great. And we're so thankful that these four companies have partnered with us on this work. And I want to be real clear. I mean, Spark, we really see Spark as about practical integration and not hype. And this is not designed in any way to be a sales pitch. For those of you that worked with us for many years, you understand that we treat the sort of the sanctity of our communal learning. It's really core to who we are and what we do. So our goal here was to find developers who were really responsive to practical feedback from actual educators, actual district users, and I'm really excited. I think we have that here. So what we're going to do is we're going to give each of them about 8 minutes to introduce their product to all of you, talk a little bit about what the problem is that they're aiming to solve. They're going to do a little bit of screen sharing demo, so you can take a look at that. And then each of them have a research pilot that they are in the middle of or getting ready to start to further improve their products. And we'll come back at the end and talk a little bit about if any of those might be interesting, how we can help knit some partnerships together. So I'm going to start by introducing Taryn Thomas from EdLight. EdLight's a product that acts as a math co-teacher looking at student work and really helping teachers in delivering targeted instruction. So we're going to stop screen sharing. Taryn, we're going to turn it over to you and let you rock and roll.
Awesome. Sounds great. Thanks so much, Trey. I appreciate it. Really excited to be able to connect with you all today. So my name is Taryn. I am CEO and founder of EdLight. And today I really have 3 goals. I want to be able to hear from you all. What are some of the biggest things that you're facing? Really grateful that the Impact team was able to highlight some of those pieces. I want to talk to you about how current Florida district leaders are responding to that using EdLight, and then share a simple way for you to get involved. And so let's go ahead and jump in. First and foremost, I think it's important to highlight what makes EdLight different. There's a lot out in the education sector right now, and I know that it's probably pretty noisy. 3 years ago, I was a chief schools officer for a group of schools in Denver. And I think for me, the difference is that we are all educators. So everyone from our engineers to the person who is helping with customer support are all former teachers. And I think that that really helps to make sure that we understand deeply what comes into play when you're thinking about implementation. What are some of the things that make that really challenging? And so I'd love to hear from you guys. Thanks so much, Trey, for giving me that alley-oop. Please drop in the chat. What's one thing right now that's getting in the way of formative assessment in your district? I can do teacher wait time. Okay, the quality. Yes, the quality. What else? Yeah. Micromanaging. Absolutely. For me, it was drowning, right? There's almost too many data sources. I feel like 10 years ago, I was in a place where I was trying to convince my school leaders to actually believe that assessments were useful instead of just saying, like, I know my kids best. And now there are so many assessments that I really think that our teachers are drowning in the numbers, and it's really unclear what actually holds that North Star. And so one of the ways that we really try to focus that at EdLight is by centering on the work that kids do every single day. And what we know is most important about math is that students need to be able to show their thinking. The difference between a student who fills out a multiple choice and gets the answer wrong and you're trying to guess how to help them versus being able to actually look at the thinking that they put on paper is really the difference maker for us. And so I want to be able to show you guys what that looks like. If you can imagine, you're in a classroom where students are writing on their paper, they're holding up their Chromebooks to take a photo in the EdLight app. As they're getting those photos, students are able to see that feedback for themselves live. And then the teacher has in the front of the board an entire live dashboard that's populating as students are taking those pictures of their work. They're able to say, hey, Gavin needs more help right in the moment. And not only are they able to see that from the paper writing that the students did, they're also able to get clusters of what type of errors are happening most often in the classroom. So they can see, hey, 2 students are really struggling with place value here. A couple of students are struggling with rounding error. because we know that that ability to respond to instruction in the moment versus waiting days and days for formative assessment tools to come back really is the difference maker. And then when you are in the classroom, excuse me, 1 second, hit the wrong button. And then when you're in the classroom, students are also able to get a really up close view of, oh man, don't like having to do that. 1 second. Okay. So a student like Alex is able to take that picture, and within the 5 seconds of that upload, we're able to tell the teacher what is the area that the student strategized, how successful they were with that strategy, any misconceptions that the student had, and we're breaking that down for them all the way through. So for us, it really comes down to how are you spending your time with teachers? We know that the majority of schools are putting time in for data meetings or PLC meetings. And right now, without EdLight in those systems, we're able to see things like, okay, let's have a conversation about this standard. I can predict that students are going to have trouble here. But when you actually sit down and you center the PLC meeting focused on student work, and are able to use EdLight to see what are the misconceptions that students had previously across the country, that really changes the meeting from being all about analyzing data to all about action planning for data. So what does it look like to partner with EdLight? Well, for one, we're going to come and we're going to co-lead your PLC meetings with you. We think it's incredibly important to make sure that we're on the ground in your schools, helping to support your math leaders across the industry and across the district. Second, we're going to stand side by side with teachers as they're doing their onboarding. That might look like us co-teaching a lesson with someone who's really struggling with a standard, or it might look like us sitting down to really help you create your next PD. We know that the stakes are high. Across the country, 22% of kids are leaving school prepared and math proficient. And when we look at the numbers in Florida, they're not that far off. And so for us, it's not about waiting to see what tools will show the right evidence. It's about acting quickly with urgency to ensure that the next group of students is graduating more prepared than their predecessors. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them now, or you can just scan the QR code and we'd be more than happy to speak with you guys. Thanks so much for making time for us this morning.
Great. Thank you, Taryn. Really appreciate that overview and how quick you were. We really appreciate that as well as we're trying to keep everybody on schedule here. Next up, we have Eric from Magma Math. Really excited to have him share a little bit about their platform that works to help teachers create standards aligned lessons and provide, again, real-time insights into how students are progressing through their instruction. So Eric, we'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, guys. So, super nice to be here. I think I was mentioned when you say the world in the beginning there. I'm calling in from Sweden, so super exciting to talk to all of you. I'm going to be co-presenting with my colleague Chad here. So I just wanted to mention like why we ended up here. So we are currently working with the Gates Foundation on building 2 AI features. And what the Gates Foundation has made possible for us is to be out in classrooms and incorporate teachers and leaders in the building process. So what we're doing now, as we speak, we are preparing to go out for a second iteration of this development process, which is super exciting, and we're super happy to be here as well, presenting for you guys. So with that, I'll hand it over to Chad.
Awesome. Thanks, Eric. Happy to be here. Thanks, y'all, for having us. Excited to chat with you a little bit about Magma Math and the work we're doing and how we might be able to help in your district. Love that a few things that were mentioned today amongst y'all were district strategy and looking for a teacher assistance tool. That's what Magma really is. If you leave with anything today, just know that Magma is a tool where students have to show their work. And it helps teachers with 2 of the things they struggle most with, which are tying a neat ball in their lesson, trying to understand which students understand the standard and which ones did not and need extra help. And then second, engagement and rich math discourse in the classroom. So a couple quick stats about Magma Math. We're typically used for formative assessment. And again, that discourse piece in the classroom, getting kids more excited about math, seeing themselves as mathematicians, building up their not only identities in math, but accountability as well. We want to support all students as doers of math. So content is available for instant translation in 140 different languages. I think we're at 146 now, actually, as well as text to speech. So taking that time that teachers would have to spend and automating that. We're aligned to the Florida B.E.S.T standards. So saving teachers time putting together assignments and those formative lessons. And then lastly, we work and can map our content to the scope and sequence of any core curriculum you might already have. And we work on any device, Chromebooks. We're an Apple selected partner, so iPads, Macs, laptops. So those are a couple quick facts just to keep in mind. Now let's jump into the demo. So there are a couple different phases of Magma Math. I'm going to walk us through building an assignment, answering a question as if we're one of your students. And then lastly, the instant data and visible student work that teachers have access to drive mathematical routines in the classroom and get discourse going. So what I'm sharing now is our content bank. We're K through 12, so we have content up to calculus. For the sake of time, I'm going to go with some grade 4 content. That was my favorite grade in grade school. Miss Griffith, wonderful teacher. So when I hit grade 4, all of my standards drop down here. Again, I'm a teacher building an assignment now, just to kind of ground you in where we are. I'm going to go with standard number 1, place value for multi-digit numbers. And then we've got all of our skills here. So let's say just the first one, express the relationship between place value positions. Now what teachers have access to is a problem bank. We've got about 10,000 questions per grade level, and it's already categorized by rigor. So we've got mild, medium, and spicy. That's in DOK 1, 2, and 3 alignment. And I can select, you're seeing some of these questions light up. I'm going to say a mild, a medium, and a spicy question because I want that for my entry ticket today. And then on the right-hand side, I'm just going to select my class. Or if I hit the drop-down menu, I can select students individually or by group when it comes time to differentiate the questions. Think about this at the district level too. Having a district level educator be able to create this assignment and then share with all teachers at once. How awesome that would be. So now I'm going to share the student side, right? That assignment gets pushed out to my students, and now they're going to work on this on their device. What you'll notice is at the bottom, it says show your thinking. Students can't submit a response until they put work down on the canvas. We're trying to be an extension of teachers that are so often saying, share with me your reasoning and your thinking. On the left-hand side, this is where we can translate 140 different languages for instant translation, as well as text to speech. So I have Portuguese here.
Qual é o perímetro do retângulo?
My wife's Portuguese, I'm trying to learn, not that good, but the Magma's helping me a little bit, right? So now I'm going to go about solving for this. Super interactive, so I can click and drag diagrams. I'm going to bring over that English. I'm even going to bring over my other language here so I can do a little bit of that language learning. We work on any device, and students can now use different manipulatives or colors and draw out their thinking. So I know that this side is 3. And then this side is 4 up here. Or I can type out my thinking as well. So I'm going to say perimeter equals base plus height. That equals 3 plus 4, which equals 7. Now that I've shared my thinking, you'll notice the answer box is available at the bottom. I'm going to put 7 in there. I got it incorrect. It says not quite, try again. And here's some of our really mindful AI features being brought in. So we have AI-powered hints that guide student thinking. These hints can be toggled on or off. You may not want them for a common informative assessment, but for other interactive assignments, it's great to kind of have the student persevere and get through this on their own. So those AI hints are toggleable by educators when they create an assignment. For the sake of time here, I'm going to move on over now back to the teacher side and show you how we actually give teachers insights instantly to drive their instructional routines in the classroom. So what you're looking at now is a heat map. It's grading for me the assignment. So saving teachers time grading. Green boxes mean correct on the first try. Yellow boxes correct after multiple attempts. Red boxes not correct yet. So teachers know where the gaps are. I even have a little red dot telling me there's a common error on number 7. When I click in, I can now see all of the student canvases in one place. It's as if Magma's collected all of the papers, graded them, and even used AI to analyze for common errors. I have 6 students all getting 12 centimeters squared. I can anonymize these names, and then I can select in sequence. If we think about the strategies of mathematical discourse, I can select in sequence different student canvases anonymously, and these are going to drive the discussion. So that was my favorite. No, they're a common error. Now I can bring together 2 different ways students arrived at the right answer. I'm going to open this up to my class now, and I'm going to say, hey, Eric, what do you love about student 3's response? What do you love about student 10? How are they different? Let's look at career application and real world application. If I have a huge rectangle, is one of these strategies going to be faster than the other? Let's get the kids moving, talking about the math, seeing themselves as mathematicians. I think we're coming up on time here. There's a whole district data dashboard as well. We talked about district strategy. Seeing where students are struggling from standard progression, that would be the last half I'm not going to be able to share today. So I'm going to pass it over to Eric for the last 30 seconds.
Thanks, Chad. So, like Chad mentioned, discourse, talking about math and everything, and I think that's what we want to dig deeper into. So, you want to mention anything on this slide before I go, Chad? Or?
Yeah, just these are some of the great work we've already started doing in Florida. We're very new to the state, but we're partnered with Volusia, Walton, and Alachua County Schools. Would encourage you to reach out there. They're really using Magma to level up engagement and formative assessment.
Thanks. So we want to do a shorter research study, and we hope to get like 3 excited districts from today to join us on this. We want to understand how student engagement and attitude towards math changes after conducting student-centered discourse twice a week. So working together with the teachers and the classes, looking at problems, solutions that you guys saw from Chad's demo, and like bringing that discourse into the classroom and looking at how that affects the student and the performance, of course. So thank you guys for listening, and hope you'll join us.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Chad. Really appreciate the overview and the research that they mentioned at the end. We will be sharing a resource with everyone on the call at the end of the call with more information on those research projects and information about how to express any interest. So next up, we have a longtime partner that we've worked with before, TeachFX and Alyssa Van Camp. TeachFX is really focused on classroom dialogue and has seen their product evolve quite a bit over the last few years, and is doing some really interesting things on how to analyze what's said in the classroom. So Alyssa, we'll turn it over to you.
Well, and actually, I hate to disappoint
Perfect. Sorry,
everybody.
Jamie, I
But
apologize.
you're actually going to get Jamie. So I'm Jamie. I'm the founder of TeachFX. I started my career as a math and English teacher in 2006 at the high school level in Harlem, in New York. Got into the work because I care about equity and I see the teacher as the main leverage point for change, not just in education, but in like the world. And I think it's very hard to support teachers in scalable ways. I was never observed as a teacher my entire teaching career by another adult. And I think even when we do get to observe teachers and help support teachers, it often falls short of what we really would want to do. So what TeachFX is a tool where teachers record audio of their class, and then we use the AI that we've built to give that teacher positive feedback and support on their pedagogy. It's something that typically teachers will do like on a weekly kind of cadence. And when we work with schools and districts, which we work with schools and districts at that kind of level, Typically, everybody in that school or in that district is using this tool. We have about 10,000 teachers on the platform today. We've been around for almost 9 years now. So I'm going to start with a question, little game show question, if you will. I want everyone to put in the chat their guess for how much an individual student speaks in class on average right now across K-12 in the US. This counts any kind of talk with a partner, talk in a small group, talk in the full group, academic talk, or even just whatever, any language they're producing. How much time does an individual student speak in 1 hour? And I'll let some of those answers come in. Oops, here, hold on. Where are we? What's going on? There we are. Okay. All right. So I'm seeing some answers. So we actually have a lot of empirical data here on this. You know, when teachers record on TeachFX, obviously we're measuring how much students are talking. And this is the statistic that keeps me up at night. Like, we know that students are not really talking that much in class. Only 27 seconds per hour on average. About 7 seconds of that is full group talk, and about 20 seconds is in small groups. And I know what you're all thinking, like, how could any learning possibly happen if students are only speaking for 27 seconds an hour? And that's exactly kind of our mission. So we want to help teachers use high leverage teaching practices that get kids talking, that get them engaged in class. And we do that in this very simple way by allowing teachers to just, without any screens, they're just in your pocket, you're recording with TeachFX on your phone, and then you get a little bit of feedback. So I'll show you how it works on my computer. Most teachers do this on their phone. You're picking a high leverage teaching practice you want to focus on, like maybe pressing students to explain their thinking or praising student thinking, giving academic specific praise. I got 4 little kids, so I'm focused on behavior specific praise. You record your class, and again, this is just happening in the background. And then when you're done, you get a report back that looks like this, where you get a little summary of your lesson. In this lesson, you taught students about slopes, y-intercepts, and linear equations. You get an image and a title of your lesson based on what you and your students were talking about. So teachers love this. This is like a great way to review. You could tell a TeachFX teacher because they have these like printed up on their wall, and it feels validating, I think, for teachers. We've heard and seen that this like helps with that sort of affirmation. I did accomplish what I wanted. But then we show you how you did on the focus area you had. So this teacher was focused on opportunities to respond. We're noticing, hey, you did this strategy 25 times, and then we highlight some of her best moments. We also show her overall talk ratio, and we show that both as a ratio and as a timeline. You can play back whatever you'd like here. And then we show this like quick snapshot word cloud. And the idea is no matter what teaching practice you're focused on, that you can get a quick dose of dopamine, honestly. We're going to show you when you did well, right? So if you're working on academic press, we're going to say, hey, TeachFX is going to find a couple examples of when you nailed it. So I'll play a couple here.
This is discrete. Okay, and then tell me more about how you got your equation.
I just looked in the common knowledge to read that and make an equation.
To be more precise, what do you mean? How did you know to put the 8 by the x?
Because 1 times set of the 15, that's the...
I won't make you listen to his whole answer, but basically there's 2 moments here of press where TeachFX is detecting. Tell me more about how you got your equation. What do you mean? How did you know to put the 8 by the x as great examples of press? And then we're also detecting other features about the student talk, like that he's using mathematical reasoning language in his answer, or that the teacher has actually put kids in groups, and this is just one of the groups, that elevate that moment to show us like this is a great moment. The core of the experience is meant to take teachers only like 1 or 2 minutes. This is like, I videotaped myself when I was a teacher trying to think about, improving on my instruction, but I never actually watched the videotape. Who has 2 hours to sit down, with, I didn't have a coach, right? So what we found is that this lightweight approach where it only takes a couple minutes is very effective. So we've now had 4 large-scale randomized control trial studies done independently on this type of feedback and our intervention from professors at Stanford, Harvard, University of Maryland. And these studies have shown that this approach to giving feedback to teachers is very effective. It gets teachers using these high leverage teaching practices more, gets kids talking more, and this is all in a randomized setting. Teachers report more positive opinions of their kids. They report higher job satisfaction and morale. They report lower feelings of burnout if they were randomly selected to receive this feedback. But critically, that the benefits don't stop with the teachers. So we saw all these positive benefits on the students as well, including improved academic performance in mathematics. So this is a very small time investment. I think across like the largest study, teachers spent a grand total of 12 minutes over a semester interacting with this data. So it's like, we're not talking about a big heavy lift here, but we've seen it has this research proven impact. When we implement, we always work with districts where the goal is universal support for all teachers. This is a very scalable tool that teachers really love. And so we want to work toward that. But what we start with is just a very simple 4-week pilot where we give this to a few teachers and we kind of give them the experience. I'm going to just end with, actually, I'll say what the research opportunity is. So if you're interested in partnering with us, we are involved with this research study with the National Science Foundation and Professor Sean Kelly. That's really for individual teachers. It's a little bit different than our normal model. But if you agree to share our research opportunity, which is in the PDF, with your teachers, and that also gives teachers a stipend for participating, then in exchange, we would be happy to give you a free TeachFX pilot, which normally would be $5,000. As like a thank you for helping us with this National Science Foundation study. So if you're interested, that's like a very easy way to get started. And if I have 90 seconds, I will end with this video that just kind of recaps what I just did and shows a little bit about what teachers say about TeachFX.
It gives me the affirmation that I need as a teacher to remind me that I am doing a good job. It's basically a coach in an app.
It helps us reflect as teachers, but also it's like a highlight reel of your best moments.
TeachFX is an easy-to-use app that notices and celebrates effective teaching practices across your district. Practices such as open-ended questions, pressing students to explain their thinking, and behavior-specific praise. The way TeachFX works is simple. Teachers record themselves teaching any class using a phone or computer. Minutes after class, the teacher receives a lesson report with insights that answer questions such as, how much did I talk compared to my students? What academic language did students use? How many times did I ask open-ended questions? Teachers can choose a teaching practice to focus on, earn celebratory badges, share moments with their PLC, and see their growth over time. Published research shows TeachFX improves teaching practices and student outcomes.
It's been like super helpful.
I'm excited by the tool because it's an easy start recording and I don't have to do any work.
I can go back and look at my wording and I love that.
Really like how it just helps me to see who's doing more talking in class.
We love the summary of the lesson, that it's validating to see, oh yes, that was what I was trying to teach.
This is really just like, whew, mind blown for me to help me become a better teacher.
I just think it's a really cool tool and I'm actually now really excited about it.
I'm not gonna get emotional, but this feels like positive progress in my professional development to really actually make a difference in their lives long term.
TeachFX. It's the best way for teachers to improve their instruction.
All right, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. Really appreciate that and the tight overview of that. It's really it's I mean, all these products are so exciting. They're doing really great things in classrooms. So really thankful for that. And then last but not least, we're going to turn it over to Scott Walters at Edia. Talk a little bit about their product, one of their products. They've got a suite of different tools, but specifically in this case, really focusing on some of the work they do in mathematics instruction. So Scott.
All right, thanks so much, Trey. So let me pull up my screen. All right, yeah, first of all, thank you so much for letting us be a part of this, Trey, and the Impact Florida team, and to all the district leaders joining us. We're very excited to be part of this discussion around cutting edge technology and education, alongside all these other great companies that are doing really exciting work as well. So my plan was to focus just on math, but I'm going to also briefly touch on attendance just because I kind of peeked ahead at the slides and saw chronic absenteeism was a huge area of interest. So I'm not going to do a deep dive into that, but just really wanted to quickly touch on that at the end. But we do actually have three opportunities to present to you today. Two of them are Gates Foundation funded research projects as well. The first one is our Edia AI Math Coach that is studying motivational feedback for students. And that study is taking place this school year, but we'd still be open to talking to districts about being included in that study. The second is also our Edia AI Math product, where we're studying using AI to generate differentiation aligned to high quality instructional materials. That's one that we're setting up our study for next school year. And then finally, our Edia AI attendance, using AI to reduce chronic absenteeism rates. Again, that's very early stage, but targeting spring 2026 as a possibility for that one. So just to give you a quick overview of the entire platform, just to show you how it's all connected. We started as a math platform back in 2020, but because of feedback we've gotten from a lot of our partner districts, obviously since COVID, attendance has been a major challenge for school districts across the country. Chronic absenteeism rates have more than doubled in a lot of school districts and nationwide. And the feedback we've been getting is you can't teach an empty seat. So we also developed an AI product to address attendance and improve attendance rates. And both our math and our attendance products connect to our MTSS and data platform to manage your MTSS intervention workflows. But really, our focus is on math today. So just to give you a high-level overview of how we support schools in math instruction, you can think of Edia as a platform that supports everything besides the curriculum. We're a tier 1 through 3 AI math intervention platform. Alongside the curriculum, we provide math practice with an AI math coach. At the tier 2 level, we create Florida state standards aligned report cards that has real-time student data that is updated every time a student solves problems on Edia. And then teachers can use those report cards to use AI to automatically differentiate for small groups. And then finally, at the tier 3 level, we create adaptive learning pathways that are personalized to every student. And I'm going to get into each of these in just a little bit more detail in just a second. So for our first opportunity that's centered around our AI math coach, the problem that we're trying to address is that it's not possible for students to receive personalized feedback on all their math work. I'm a former middle school math teacher myself. I taught 6th grade and 8th grade math. And a lot of the times I was a teacher in a room where it's me and 25 or 30 students. And when a lot of students need help at the same time, it's just impossible to give them the level of support that they all need. So we developed our Edia AI Math Coach to give personalized feedback to students on all their work in over 105 languages. And so what we've done is that we've made it very easy for students to type out their work digitally, which is a huge challenge, right? A lot of times students will write their work out on paper, enter their answer in digitally, and then they'll be told whether they're right or wrong, but they might not necessarily know where they're going wrong or what their misconception is. Edia's AI Math Coach is actually able to read and understand the work that the student's doing and give them personalized feedback on any misconception that they may have. And it doesn't just analyze work, it's also set up to be a two-way conversation. So in an example like a word problem, students may ask, hey, what's the first step, or how do I get started? And the AI coach will work with the student just like they're a tutor sitting right next to them and give them that step-by-step support to help students build their understanding in that math skill. So what we hope to learn through this study is if we integrate growth mindset elements into our AI math coach, what impact does that have on student motivation, engagement, and perseverance in mathematics, and ultimately the effect that it has on student outcomes? Oops, sorry about that. So that's our first study here. The second opportunity is using AI to automate differentiation for small groups and tier 3 interventions. Again, as a former math teacher, differentiating for small groups, it's one of the best things you can do as a teacher. It's also one of the most challenging things to do on a consistent basis. You need to grade student work, you need to put them into groups, and then you need to create lesson plans for each individual student. What Edia's platform does is it automates that entire process for the teacher. So in Florida, Your teachers are going to get Florida Math Standards Aligned report cards like you see here, and it's automatically going to group students into 3 separate groups. Those green dots you see on the screen there, those are students who are already proficient on that state standard, and they're ready to be accelerated on to the next skill. These yellow students, they're considered almost proficient. Maybe they just haven't spent enough time practicing yet, and they just need some additional practice on that skill in order to get to proficient. And then the red students are students who have really struggled on this skill, and they need something different. They spent a lot of time working on that standard. They're still not reaching the proper proficiency levels, so they might need some prerequisite work. So the first thing it does is it provides that great report for teachers. Second, as a teacher, I can select groups of students, and with 2 clicks of a button, Edia's AI will automatically recommend a small group assignment for those students that's aligned to that standard and differentiated to the proper skill level for each student. So every student in that small group is going to get work that's relevant and at the appropriate level of rigor for them. And then once students are in that group, they have that AI math coach to support them. So students can work, or teachers can work fully with the group that needs the most support, or that the group that they want to focus on for that day's class. And the other groups still have that AI coach supporting them on every problem. And what we hope to learn through this initiative is, 1, how much time are we saving teachers by automating this process? 2, how much more frequently are teachers differentiating instruction now that we've made it more time efficient? And then 3, obviously, with all our studies, we want to measure the impact that this is having on student outcomes in math. And so this is our tier 2 intervention. I'm going to quickly show you just how we're also differentiating at the tier 3 level. We create personalized adaptive pathways for every student that's personalized for them, aligned to the course that they're enrolled in. So if they're in Algebra 1, they might get prerequisite practice on their personalized pathway from 6th and 7th grade if they have gaps there that need to be addressed. So every student's getting that personalized learning that's right for them. And then finally, it's all integrated into our MTSS platform, where you can add students to interventions. Their math data is automatically synced with these interventions, so that you can not only stay organized on which students are in your interventions and what adult is responsible for managing them, but you actually can see with real-time data, is this intervention is working, or do we need to try something else? So that's our second opportunity with using AI for differentiation. And then finally, really briefly on the attendance side, we just last school year ran our first pilot program in New Mexico. New Mexico had the highest chronic absenteeism rates in the entire country, over 40% state average of students were chronically absent. So we started in New Mexico and saw amazing results there. What we do is within seconds or within minutes of a student missing school, we send an AI text message to parents to automate the outreach process between the school and the parent to find out the root causes of why students are missing school. And then we'll use, again, that MTSS intervention platform to recommend interventions to get students back in school. Our goals in these pilot programs are to increase parent response rates. We more than 10x parent response rates in our pilot in New Mexico, and we'd hope to see similar results in Florida. And as well as within our first year of partnering with the district, our goal is to reduce chronic absenteeism rates by 30 to 50% in the first year of partnering with them. So again, I know that was a lot of information all at once, but I wanted to make sure that you were aware of if any of these areas are priorities for your districts. We would love to have a deeper conversation with you all. Here's the Florida team. We have Andy and Bella, who are also on the call, who lead our regional relationships with all our district partners in Florida. And again, since I went through this so fast, if you'd like a copy of this presentation, you can send me an email at scott@edia.app, and I'd be happy to send it over so you can kind of look into it in more detail. So thank you all so much again, and that's all I have.
Scott, thank you so much, and really just want to take a minute to thank all of these developers for being with us today to share work that they're really proud of and and products they're continuing to try to improve. We have a few minutes left and just wanted to put up some thoughts and some questions for the district and educator representatives on the call to say, and ask, what stood out to this? What questions are lingering for you? Would love to give folks, 30 seconds or a minute either to come off mute and speak something, or to just drop a question or a thought in the chat around what you think at this stage, and then we'll talk about next steps. It's been a long time since I was in a classroom, so my wait time is awful, and I apologize for that. Yes, so Meredith, we will be getting a copy of this presentation, and we'll say in just a second. I'll talk about we'll send it out to everyone in just a minute. While you all are typing and thinking, want to really just again say thank you to everyone for being here. After this call, this afternoon, we will be sending out an email to everyone who registered for the call with a copy of this presentation, a copy of an info sheet that Jackie just put in the chat with information about these three studies, or these four studies, excuse me, and as well as a link to a follow-up survey that we'd ask for you to fill out. Tell us what you liked about this, what we could improve, and if you have specific interest in engaging with any one of these developers, just check off the box, and we'll make sure to get you in touch. Our hope at Impact Florida is that this is the start of a conversation, and so what we want to know, what we've heard loud and clear from districts across the state of Florida is there is a strong interest in figuring out how to leverage new AI technologies to improve the work that we do every day. And we are excited to continue to find ways to do that with you as a partner. Some of that may be testing and providing feedback to product developers like these four on this call. Part of it may be convening with your colleagues from other districts to really wrestle through how you make AI a thoughtful and integrated and intentional part of what happens in your school district. So we are all ears. I encourage you to share your thoughts with us in the surveys that we send out. Share your thoughts with us. Shoot us an email. Give us a call. We'd love for this to be the start of a conversation. And we are very eager as folks raise their hands virtually through this survey to say they might be interested in some of these research opportunities. We'd love to connect those districts that are going to be involved in some of this research together to say to understand better what are the common successes and challenges you're having, and how can we help lift those up and share those out with the rest of the state. So unless there are any final questions, we just really want to say thank you to everyone. Thank you for the time. Thank you to all of our developer partners who made time for this call. And we look forward to keeping the conversation going about the role of artificial intelligence in education here in the state of Florida.
Thank you, everyone. Great to see you.
Thank you all.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.